and I'll start the music. I am going to say it every time. I love that music.
Yeah, I could definitely do without ever hearing that song again.
When I edit it, I very often will just find myself listening to it like 3, 4, 5 times in a row because it gets me so pumped up.
Should I? Because I didn't see us up until now. Should I? I can make myself a little smaller. I think. Do you want?
Oh yeah, if you can do that, that's cool. I could move myself up a little bit too.
Let's see.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah, nothing's better.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Live.
That's good.
Here, hold on. I have a little bit of a tear. How about this?
You have a little bit of tear? What's tear?
Like a black spot. Sorry. Can you raise yourself a little?
Yeah, of course I can.
Okay. And if you full screen me, then I'll have black. Like it won't look as good. So
I experimented with that, but it just it didn't work the way I wanted to. I want to look at doing something like that again.
Yeah,
but it wasn't quite what I had been hoping for. Can I make myself bigger? Let's try. Nope, not that one. This one. Ooh, there we go.
That's good. Wait, but what happens if I do this?
Oh boy,
that looks really good.
Oh boy.
Because I want myself this way. Yeah, but I am cut. Can you bring me? You can move me. Yeah, you can move me a little bit, right?
Somebody.
I mean, it's good. This is what we do. This is like behind the scenes.
No, you're right up at the. Oh, can I?
Can you not just like drag me and then move me a little bit? Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Cool. Fuck it. We'll do it live. We will literally actually do it live.
Always.
All right. So today, and I don't even know if we announced that we're doing this. We probably should have put this in our Discord. I think we did, but.
Oh, I can do that now.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about a couple things. So if anybody hasn't done this with us before, basically this is our weekly recording session for the 5 segments that we're going to play throughout the next week. And what we've been doing typically is on Thursday night, or more recently on Sunday night, we get together for an hour or two. We record all the shows. I edit them and upload them. Peter schedules them with thumbnails, and then they play one, 15 to 20 minute show per day. And then recently we thought, well, it'd be fun if we just recorded these sessions. So we're not necessarily doing this to be a live stream, but some people have said it's fun to be able to watch us go through the process. So we can create content for you guys in a couple different ways. And it's turned out to be a lot of fun. The original idea, and this maybe even was before John got here, I don't know, was for this to be a live show every time. But we ended up deciding that we liked the pre-recorded format. But if you've noticed, I don't like to do a lot of editing, which is why we do this format, whether we're live or pre-recorded. And it works out pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked out. I mean, if it means less work for you, that's good.
That is my number one priority.
Yeah.
Less work for me. Yes.
So I guess start us off. What are we talking about today?
Okay, so we've got a couple topics. We're going to talk about companies artificially throttling their products or services to make more money. We're going to talk about whether there is such a world in which we would not be tracked. A story about AI and robots that does not make me fear for the end of humanity, for kind of a weird reason, I think. We're going to talk about all the dog shit AI content on the internet and how it's only going to get worse. And then we'll watch a couple TikTok videos, which is always fun for me. Which is ultimately all I care about. All right. We could look at the software stuff we want. And we will follow the more recent format. What we used to do pulling the curtain back, opening the kimono, as it were, is record the segment. And then at the end, we would go back and record the intro once we already knew what the segment was about. And I would edit and move things around and put the files, bumper music in and all that. But even that I decided was too much work. So now we're going to start recording, do the intro. I'll play the thing. We'll do the show, and I'll play the dancing robot at the end. Okay. Should we go do one here, John?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Start the timer, and we will start recording. We've talked a couple times, and I think John is well on the record being very much against this, about companies throttling functionality, software locking features, having paid services that are ad supported versus paid services that are not ad supported. Recently, Apple had to pay a fine because they were determined to have been doing this. So we're going to talk about that on today's Not So Critical update. I had to look down at where all my buttons are because you may have noticed we don't have Peter with us today. So I had to move everything around to set up the scenes for 2 people instead of 3 people.
Peter, this guy, can you believe it? Not showing up.
I know. I think it's either like oversleep or what. I don't know what his story is.
No, that's only me who does that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. He said he can't record today or yesterday and today. So it's like, all right, well, whatever. Maybe we should have recorded tomorrow. Well, too late now.
But then we would have a Monday show. Monday releases are very important to me.
Monday releases are the big hits. Yeah.
Try to make sure we do one every day. So we are continuing our recent habit of live streaming the recording of the session. So we've been doing this on Sunday evenings around 3:30 Eastern-ish time, which has been working out pretty well. So if anybody wants to come join us live, you're certainly welcome to do that. If not, you could come and join us on our Discord server. We've actually been having some really interesting conversations in the Discord server recently. John, we have a Discord server for the show. Not sure if you're aware.
No. I mean, I
active.
did just write a message in general. So like, I'm pretty in there.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was advertising the live stream.
Okay.
Like, subscribe, and join us in Discord if you want to not talk to me. Anyway.
But a lot of the stuff that we talk about on the show comes from the Discord server and conversations that we have there. This one was shared in our server, but Apple is going to have to pay out a good bit of money because it was determined that they're actually slowing down older iPhones. This is from a BBC article. Tom Gherkin at BBC. They're paying $500 million, which is not nothing. Because they were found to have been artificially slowing down older iPhones to encourage people to upgrade.
It's crazy that this is in the news again.
Yeah.
Because this was in the news a few years ago that they were doing this. And
it was the
$500
battery
million
thing before, right?
Yeah, it was like they were making their batteries worse intentionally.
Yeah.
So let's see, Apple yearly revenue, right? Like, let's see what we're working with here. So for 2023, Apple reported a $383 billion revenue.
Yeah.
Right. So we are talking about less than 0.6%.
Yeah.
Is in yearly revenue, and like in profits, like who knows? Let's see how much they made. $169 billion in profits in 2023. So again, less than 1%, actually. Closer to half.
For these fines, sure.
For these fines. And like, that's just the cost of doing business, right? Like, if Apple makes my God, if Apple makes $170 billion in profit just to keep, of course they're going to slow down their old fucking devices. Because what the government is, or what the government is saying is, hey, like, it's not okay, but it's not that big of a deal if you do it. Like, it's just the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
So
Because
Apple gets to keep the rest of the money.
how much money in new phone sales did they make from doing this?
Exactly.
More than 500 million for sure.
More than 500 million for sure. 500
Oh.
million was probably a day of
Yep.
sales for them. Oh, that company. And
As
you
we-
know, and we're not. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to change the topic a little bit. So finish your point, and then I'll come back to it.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, this isn't unique to Apple, right? Like, we've seen this with so many companies. And every time I get real pissed, but at the same time I feel like I'm very like helpless. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
like, what can you do?
Nothing.
Awareness doesn't even bring them it doesn't even bring any justice, because like they get, yeah, okay, they got fined $500 million, but it's not like they're gonna fix the patch, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
not like they're gonna fix those old phones. No, that's just, again, the cost of doing business. And man, that shit pisses me off.
One of the things that we've talked about a couple times is the idea of kind of like software locking features just to be able to charge more. But I did want to ask about this. So they're performance throttling older devices to encourage people to upgrade, which implies that using the older devices should be fine, short of this throttling, right?
Don't get me started. Do not.
Why is that? Like if
get
I had
me started.
if I had a Pixel
right?
4
Oh my
that I was
God,
perfectly happy with and did
can't with
everything
you.
I needed it to be able to do,
I'm gonna call up Google, tell them to throttle that piece of shit
it's
too.
not being throttled. Why shouldn't I just keep using it? And then if that
So,
one breaks, order
yeah.
another one. And then 2 years later, when that one breaks, order another one, which
Why wouldn't you?
absolutely
So
have.
let's talk about like innovation, right? Like, because I have the second, it used to be the newest, but they just came out with the 8. So I have
Mr.
the
Fancy
7,
Pants.
the Pixel, also a Google phone, right? And how does Google get you to go buy a new phone? They make it better than the last one. And better is subjective, because for you it's actually worse, right? 'Cause it's
Agreed.
bigger, it's heavier,
Yep.
better screen so you can't see because you're old. So like, the way that they have to get you, right? Why did I upgrade from my old OnePlus 7, which was my favorite phone ever? Had a little pop-up camera.
Had a
True
what?
edge-to-edge display. A pop-up camera.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
this right here. See, I still have it on my desk. Do you turn on? No, it doesn't. It's dead. It has a little, like a little.
Oh,
Can you even see that right here?
interesting.
The
No, I didn't
camera
realize
pops
that.
up,
Huh.
and so you don't have a camera or a pinhole camera here. So it's edge to edge. This was peak innovation.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
That's
I
good
use
too
this
because
phone.
it's better for privacy, I think, also because then people can't feel like,
Exactly. You know, when the camera gets initiated, it happened to me on Firefox. I was on some website and the camera popped up.
what?
I was like, huh? So it's telling me like, hey, someone, without obviously. So anyway, um, I used that thing until it was beaten solid. Like, I couldn't even have a full charge. It would, stop charging in the middle of the night. Like, I just had to get a new phone. So I went with the Google Pixel because of the reliability, because of the new features. Wireless charging was a big deal for me. Be able to just throw it on something and charge it without having to plug it in. So like, what I'm getting to is, with these new phones, the way they get you is with better features, right? With innovation. They have to keep innovating. They can't just make it bigger. They can't just add a better screen, a better camera. They have to be new features that are like life changing. And one of those features, for example, is something I don't think you use, which is contactless payment. Um, your complaint was that it doesn't work all the time. I would say mine works as much, if not more, than a card. Like, do you remember the hassle of swiping? Oh my god.
I actually just prefer to write personal checks everywhere I go.
I hate you. Yeah, that's insanity. Anyway, so
Or sometimes cash or cashier's checks.
cashier's checks. I mean, cash is still fine in America, but like you go to Europe, you'll quickly see that many shops are going to stop accepting cash, like because it's a robbery deterrent. If you don't advertise, if you advertise that you don't accept cash, you're never going to get robbed.
Yep.
Um, so like the sacrifice of privacy, because it is a huge privacy compromise. Like I think that contactless payment is way better. Back to the point though. So these phones, while they should still function like the Apple phone, I think it's fucked up that they are, because not everyone can just go buy a new phone, right? Like there's budgets, there's money, there's poverty in the world. Like you can't just go buy the newest phone. So if you have this iPhone that you've been using for 3 years and all of a sudden you update it and like performance like screeches to a halt, yeah, that's a huge problem.
Which, based on the story we did last week about the iOS hardware vulnerability, you absolutely should do.
Yeah, of course.
Upgrade your phones.
Like, and what is Apple saying, right? Like, so what is Apple now condoning? Because it's like you just made me realize Apple is now saying like, hey, don't update, don't do critical security updates because we'll fuck up your phone. So it's a double terrible situation where people are on vulnerable, known to be able to be compromised software with from the risk, because of the risk of performance degradation, which is a classic thing. Upgrading causes worse performance, so people don't upgrade. This isn't like new. And now even more so because they've been caught doing it. So it's like it's actually a really terrible situation. These phones should be supported for way longer than they are. Like look at Windows 7, right? Like perfect example of something that was supported for a decade. The phones should be on the same standard. And phones have taken away our fixability, like our right to repair. They've taken away our modularity, I guess is the word.
Yeah, I like that.
You can't upgrade RAM on a phone, right? Like you can't swap the CPU or the main board. You're stuck with what you've got. And actually that reminds me of a company I was so hyped about called Block, I think is what it was, the Block phone. The idea was that they released they would you would be able to like upgrade the parts because it was all blocked. So it was like Legos. Your phone was basically made out of Legos.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be able to upgrade the CPU. They got bought out by Google, I'm pretty sure, and closed shop very quickly. Google did not like them.
There was someone, I think maybe Iron Mastodon shared on our Discord server a while ago about a modular cell phone. I don't know if it was that one or a different one, but
it was the Pine phone.
Yeah,
which is
stood out
Linux
because
phone.
It was the only one.
Yeah, so yeah, it's actually crazy the duopoly that Android and Apple have. And this is exactly what happens when you don't have enough competition, right? Like Apple has no fucking problem doing this. Yep. What are people going to switch to Android? No, they're the most loyal Apple users on earth. That's never happening. Just like I'm not going to switch to iOS as much as I want to. I would love to switch to iOS, but that's not happening.
Yeah. So I did start experimenting with contactless payments. Thank you very much. Because the Pixel 4 does support NFC. Peter described it as life-changing, and I
literally is.
Definitely wouldn't go that far.
I really think it has to do with the age of your phone, because I remember when NFC was coming out and I was thinking the same way you are. I was like, this is shit. This is barely working. Half the time it doesn't register at all that there's an NFC reader in front of it. But with my phone, like it knows exactly what I want. Like,
yeah, the problem is when it's available, the phone actually works fine. But, and maybe it's because I live in a very rural area.
That's
not every place I go supports it. A lot of times, like I'll want to use it at like a gas pump, and not all the gas pump have readers. They have the chip cards for sure, but not all of them have the tap to pay. And even ones that have tap to pay, it's it's so I guess what I would say is, as far as tap to pay goes, it works as well as the actual credit card. No better, no worse. I don't get super excited about it because I'm almost never going to go into a store with my phone and just leave my wallet in the car. So any place I could tap to pay with my phone, I have my card and I could just do that.
So I was going to say, I was in Europe for 2 months and I probably left my wallet half the times I left my house, I left the wallet at home.
Yeah.
Not once did I run into oh fuck, I don't have my wallet. That would happen in America.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's not there yet. And you know what pushed Europe over the edge was COVID. Was they were way more like, let's limit exposure because credit cards are nasty as fuck.
Yeah.
And so are credit card readers. Let's limit exposure. And everyone went onto contactless.
Yeah.
It was like overnight it happened. And now it's like what Peter is describing is you basically don't take your cards out. You only use your phone for it. Yeah. So it is really that good, but I think America is just behind, which America's always been behind financial services. Like they're always last, which is insane. Like because it's such a money-making country.
Yeah. But like you said, the main thing for me is the form factor. The Pixel 4, there is not a single flagship phone with an less than 6-inch display. Unless I go to Apple. So if I want this same, 5.7-inch form factor in an Android, I'm out of luck. If I go to Apple, sure, they have very compact form factor phones, but then I've got to switch over to Apple, and that's not not
happening.
Everything, all my apps that I've paid for, everything that I use is Google.
Same. And like also just go ahead.
The one feature that I do absolutely wish I had is wireless charging.
It is, I mean, while we were talking 10 minutes ago, I put my phone on the wireless charger because like it's so nice to be able to just throw it on there and like, oh, it's charging. It is such a convenient feature. Yeah. And it's one of many. I mean, there's a lot more now, like on these phones that you can do compared to 4 or 5 years ago. And that's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think you should check out the Flip, but whatever.
Yeah, that's maybe just like a mental block to having a phone that folds in half. I did order. There's a problem with my Pixel 4a 5G, which again, bigger form factor. That's why I went back even from that to the 4 previous generation. The problem was the charging port basically caught fire. So I actually did order a charging port repair kit, and we'll have my first right to repair experience with an Android phone. So I will post back once we know how that goes.
Yeah, it's gonna burn his house down. Ooh.
I should look to see if there's a way to make the recording stop automatically after that video finishes. That would be handy. Yeah, good show. That was a fun conversation. Do we have anybody watching along with us? Maybe a couple of people. Maybe not right now.
Let me go look.
Just you and me right now. We had a couple of people dip in and out, but that's cool. We've got to do this recording anyway, so here we are. Should we power through?
Yes.
Let me reset the timer. Count it from 0. And we are going to do tracking, private mode tracking. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. This is probably one that I wish we did have Peter for, because my question is going to be, could there be such a thing as a tracking free internet?
So
that's it.
I could take a stab at this.
Well, let me play our intro and then we'll get into it. Oh, nope, wrong intro. There we go. That's the one. All right. Could there be a tracking free internet, John?
Yeah.
Channel your inner Peter.
So, okay. Well, like, are we talking about on top of like our internet?
On top of our internet? What's that mean?
Like current, like on our existing internet? Like,
are you saying? Yeah. So, well,
are you saying?
Yeah. Let's talk about from where we are right now. Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about a couple of scenarios. So, I can right now basically become trackless, untrackable. Maybe is a better word. And it would require me running a no JavaScript extension in my browser. It would require me to run tracking and ad blocking and patience. Because
and no desire to actually use the entire internet if you have JavaScript turned off.
Right. So patience, because using the web without JavaScript in 2024 is probably next to impossible. Like from a normal usability perspective, like it would be hell. And then also, all of the major services we use, right? Like if you're on Reddit, or maybe you're on Twitter, or you're on, you're like a fucking Amazon scroller, yeah. All of these services have implemented basically like confidence scores on if you're like a bot. Are you scraping us? Are you an attacker? Like, are you malicious? And they do that using JavaScript and tracking. And when you block those things or you remove those capabilities, what they're saying is, we don't know who you are. You're going to do some CAPTCHAs. And boy, are you going to do some CAPTCHAs, because every action you make is going to trigger a CAPTCHA. So it depends on how patient you are and how willing you are to go through this insane, like, these never ending steps of browsing the web. So to answer the question is, can we use the internet today in a track free environment? No, not effectively, right? Like not efficiently. And that's basically like when we talk about privacy, how do you become more private? We always say, Peter and I both say this, is you got to pick and choose your battles. This is a battle you don't choose, right? You let them do this so that you remain sane.
Yeah, for sure. And I had experimented with Firefox some time ago. Had talked about it in Discord, or Discord server, which if you're not a member of, you absolutely should come and check out. We have some really interesting conversations over there. But I had tried
also
to
like and subscribe. You don't have to come to Discord. Just like and subscribe.
Kind of have to. But I had committed to using it for a month. I'm actually not even sure I made it for a month. Because I mean, so my takeaway with Firefox is, if you really care about privacy above all else, then it's probably the best option. Absolutely. God bless. Go forward. Have fun. But it's a dated UI. It's got all kinds of like weird little quirks. The navigation isn't great. And the tracking breaks shit. And to me, that just wasn't worth the trade-off. Like, yeah, I'm pretty well on the record as not caring a whole lot about the privacy aspect of it. Obviously, I want to be safe. I think that some of the not doxing per se, but identity theft, significant criminal act. We should not do that. I do not want to be attacked. Let me be clear about that. But it shouldn't be. I don't want to live in fear all the time, I guess is my point. But there are a couple aspects of tracking, right? So one aspect of tracking is ad targeting. And that has to do with our current business models. There could be usable sites without ad targeting. good ideal world, there wouldn't be um, the sale of tracking data. This is a little bit nefarious, very profitable. Should really just not be legal. I think there's no reason for it other than to allow companies to make more money. Theoretically, you'd say, well, it just improves ad targeting because then they know more about you. Whatever, not buying it. Debugging or the nature of the service. Sometimes the service has to track you to be able to deliver the service.
Yeah,
Nothing wrong
A/B
with that.
testing, right? Yeah.
And then customization of the service or content. Also, to our benefit, maybe you don't want to be tracked, so you'd be willing to accept a more generic experience. But I kind of outlined that in my head just to think about like what are the degrees of acceptability for tracking purposes.
Sure.
And to me, where it really becomes a problem is when companies are sharing and selling information amongst themselves.
Yeah. Or storing. I wouldn't even go as far as to say as selling. I think storing that information is a problem because we see it all the fucking time where a company gets breached and the data that gets swept up in the breach is
Yeah.
super pervasive, like really intimate stuff. I mean, the shit that some companies store on you. Yeah. So it is I would love to see an internet where for profit tracking, right? Commercial tracking, uh, to a degree, I guess, would be able to be stopped completely. But to other, on the flip side, right, tracking stops financial crime. So
What's that mean?
in fintech, in like the finance technology sector, they use tracking um as a form of verification of a person. So there are companies out there that are similar to data brokers that siphon up a bunch of data about you. They actually have a profile on you. You, as in Mike. You've never interacted with them. You don't know their names. They know you, though. And they know that you use a Pixel 4. You generally browse from a Chromium browser. You live in X state. Your phone number is whatever. Your email is generally this. um, your active hours, your
Mm-hmm.
everything, your behavior. So you then go and sign up for like SoFi or like one of these new services, right? Like these new financial services. Maybe it's an investment company like Robinhood or and Robinhood is partnered with this company you've never heard of before, this data broker. They are using them as a vendor to verify you. And you sign up and the data that Robinhood has on you passes to this vendor who does a verification check, a KYC,
Hmm.
a know your customer check on you. And if things are looking bad, right? Like, oh, well, they're using this guy's social and name, but it's a email we've never seen before, and the IP is not in the city that he's usually in. This is looking dodgy. Like, you should
Interesting.
probably have this person do further verifications. So what they'll do is the further verification will be like take a picture of your ID and your face.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Good, right? Like that is a good form of tracking. That's a great form of tracking because it stops financial crime happening to you,
But it's
happening under
equally as
your name.
invasive.
Yes, but it's done for good, is it not?
Yeah, but I guess is that the criteria that tracking is okay if it's done for good, or
I
is
would
privacy
say if it
privacy?
well, you've given that information out, right? Like you've handed that information out
That's my
by
argument about other privacy online though. Like you're the
yeah,
one.
but the difference here is that they're stopping financial crime happening to you.
Yeah.
And the other
Interesting.
difference, the other company is just selling your fucking data. So, or
Yeah.
storing it or whatever, right? Like, so one is for profit. And while it obviously can be definitely said that this anti financial crime KYC anti-money laundering service, like
Mhm.
they make money too, right? Like it's a great industry to be in right now. Um,
And probably by selling your data.
yeah, definitely. So we have Kunan asking in chat because we are live, as you guys know,
Oh, I
if you're
forgot about
watching
that.
this recorded. Uh I wonder if banks do the same thing. If, let's say, you give the bank location info and they now no longer need you to know. Is that what that says? I have a little heart there. I can't see.
I think
Need
so
to know, no longer need you to notify for travel
yeah.
based on this type of data tracking. So yes, because literally such a good like question.
Where like in
Because
the
I was just
past I
traveling.
might be on the turnpike a couple hundred miles from home and I use my card and they say, "Is this you?"
Yeah. Right. Remember, like this used to happen back in the day. You'd get a call from your bank. They'd be like, "Hey, are you in New York right now, like making a purchase?" And you'd be like, "No." And they'd be like, "This is the fraud department. Like, we'll take care of it." You know, like it was super like
Yeah.
early 2000s techno.
Like, yes, let me buy this stupid thing.
But now, so I was abroad and I was using my contactless phone to pay for stuff, Mike,
Were you out of
and
personal checks?
basically. Right? Like they know it's me. The confidence score is super high because I have a bunch of data points that are tracking me that say, "Hey, yeah, this person is flying to this country." Um, so versus like if this has ever happened to you, like it's kind of a fucking nightmare. You go to use your card and you're abroad, you haven't notified your bank that you're traveling because that was a thing. You still have to do that, and they decline it and lock the card. And you have to call them and be like, "Hey, like, no, it's me. I'm here.
Yeah.
Please
When
unlock it. I'm trying
in
to pay for this
reality,
restaurant."
they should be able to use the GPS tracking on your phone to know what store you're at and then
But
tap
that's
into
what they're
the
doing. Is That's what I'm telling you. That's what they're doing, right? So like Google knows some things about me.
but then
I
they
use
also should be able
Gmail.
to tap into the CCTV of the store to see that it's actually
Oh
you.
my god, how pervasive do you want them to get, Mike?
How safe do you want your financial stuff to be, John?
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like the point is to walk that line. And I know you're sort of joking, but like the point is to walk
No,
that
I'm
line
not. What do
as
you
this
mean?
in this industry is like it wouldn't be effective for them to be able to like track your CCTV footage of this fucking store. Like, what are they going to contract with every Macy's, right? Like, no. So
Well, it should probably be some kind of like unified, maybe like government system
that's a great idea.
that
Keep
every
going.
store
Yeah.
is like required really to opt
Yeah.
into.
Oh my god. So it's funny you say that. I had just
Is it?
landed yesterday. I'm back home and in an undisclosed location someplace on planet Earth.
Maybe
And
allegedly.
um this is actually a green screen. So wouldn't that be funny if I pushed it's a green screen of my room?
Like,
Um,
I actually
of
know
my home.
somebody who did that because if it was like bad light, if it was night outside or lower
Right.
lighting inside, or
Yeah.
they
It's
just didn't want to
always the
be
same.
on
Yeah.
a different angle.
So funny. Um, what was I saying? Oh, I landed.
Cameras,
Yeah, okay. So I landed.
facial recognition. I'm
I
guessing.
I need to go through border patrol and passport control. And the way it works in this airport is that you have to pick up your luggage. And as I'm waiting for my luggage, there's this advertising for an app called, what were you called again? Mobile Passport Control. Okay. It's a federal app. And it says, like, skip the line, sign up for mobile passport control right now. And I'm like, yes, skip the line. Like, oh my God, you see, the line was like wrapped around, like it was past the lanes, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you. Like, I'm already so tired off of this flight. Like, get me the fuck out of this airport. So I download the app and it's like, scan your passport, fill in some information, take a picture, take a selfie, and then I finish, I grab my bag, and there's a separate lane for the mobile passport control that's empty. So I just walk right through and I'm out of the airport, right? Like I'm Nobody else next to me was doing this. And that's right. Like, again, that is me compromising on my privacy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I am providing the United States, doxed myself of my country.
Doxed.
Shucks. I am providing the US government data that they're going to store on me, right? Like about me. And that's a battle I will fucking happily lose because I ain't standing in a 2-hour passport control line. What's wrong with them?
When I flew back into the country from Mexico, and I always think I hope that I'm remembering this wrong, but I remember walking into the customs area, and there was a sign that talked about facial recognition. And then I got up to the checkpoint, and the guy like never even asked for my passport. I was just like, go through. And I thought,
your face.
But there was no like, hey, look at this camera, or this is what's happening. I walk up to the thing, have my passport in my hand, and he just looks up and says, go ahead. Like, what the fuck did you just look up on me?
No, I still had to hand my passport in.
It was crazy. I hope I'm misremembering. Maybe I was just so tired.
What country did you fly in from?
From Mexico.
So did you do a passport control in Mexico?
Oh, I don't. Probably to get onto the plane, I imagine.
So some country, yeah, obviously. What am I asking? Some countries have relationships with the U.S. that lets them do passport control for America, so you're out of the airport.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe so you do passport control. You do passport control already there. And I'm sure that Mexico has that relationship with America. I mean, it would make perfect sense. Canada doesn't. Canada still will have you. Actually, I don't remember now that I think about it. I think it was still like domestic style because that's what happens, right? You fly domestic, you just get off the plane and walk out. Like there's no any security check beyond that. Anyway, we've been talking about this for way too long.
There was one other thing I wanted to mention before we cut off. We are going long, but I just wanted to share this came up in Discord. Spam will be solved in 2 years, according to Bill Gates, in 2004.
2004.
Womp, womp.
Amazing.
Just a fun way to end. Glad to bring that up. See everyone tomorrow. All right, 2 down, 1 to go. Two down, 3 to go.
Wait,
2 down,
3 to go. What do you mean 1?
Let's do down, 3 more, to
go. And then I'm gonna run to the bathroom because I'm about to pop.
Oh my goodness! Leave me here hanging again. Okay, cool.
You know it.
I know. It's not like we're doing a live show or anything, John.
This is what happens on live. People take breaks. You should know this. Like, I know you don't watch Twitch or know what Twitch is or heard of a video game or know what the internet is, okay? But in this century, we take breaks when we live stream.
Sure. I mean, it's not like we're doing like a 6-hour live stream, though.
I mean, tomato.
Go do what you got to do. Okay. We'll be here.
No, we'll record. We'll record.
Oh, we'll do one more? Okay. Yeah. So, Dementia Bots.
Okay, yeah, good. Happy.
Ready? Here we go.
Yes.
We don't have Peter here to do the introduction, so I won't play the waiting game. I feel like I could just stand here forever.
Oh yeah, I would just not care. I would just sit there.
Do you know what we're doing? Do you know what our show is? What the segment is?
What year is it? Yeah, what are we going to talk about?
Dementia Bots.
What? Jake, that's not funny. Let's not make any more jokes.
No, we're going. So I think this is when we talk about AI, I feel like I'm always the doom and gloom one. Like it's gonna just like crush us. They're not real relationships.
And this is how it starts.
This is how I feel like this is how it ends.
So tell me about dementia bots.
Well, that's clearly not what they're called, but basically what this article from Wired is about, Kat McGowan talks about how patients with dementia who are towards end of life uh, are sometimes difficult to deal with, and it takes a lot of patience, and it's hard on the families. But these little friendly robots can kind of cheer them up, and they don't get frustrated. And this was one of the things that came up with ChatGPT early on when they were talking about what the potential uses could be, is that in terms of like kind of a companion bot or engine, um, you know, they're infinitely patient. They're not going to be offended. They can be a good tool to help keep people somewhat mentally stimulated, maintain that sense of connection to the world. And I am actually fully on board with this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like a rare occurrence where I could say that I trust this. Like, of course there is gonna be, so we're gonna keep seeing service and care be automated away from people. Um Low barrier of entry for like repetitive tasks, right? Like medicine being brought is a great example. Um and we're going to keep seeing it advancing, and more difficult tasks are going to be taken over by something like this. So like, yes, like something's going to happen where it's like the first missed needle in a vein, right? Like something like that. Like it's going to be a huge deal that the AI fucked it up. But I'm almost 100% sure that this is going to be infinitely better than humans, like human caregivers, human nurses. Like, because of precision, I I would feel very comfortable having a robot perform things on me. Yeah.
And I don't know in this case if it's necessarily that the robot's going to be actually providing care, but it's almost more like a
Yeah, but
comfort situation.
stimulation, right? Like stimulation
Yeah.
is, I guess, a form of care. But I am definitely talking about, originally, I was definitely talking about more like just traditional
Yeah.
medical care. But here, like the the fact that like you're able to bring peace or less chaos to someone with dementia is amazing, right? Like, what a near impossible task to do as a human. Like you said, infinite patience, because it doesn't have patience. Patience doesn't exist for a robot. It will sit there happily, not even happily. It will just sit there and do the thing it needs to do for however long it takes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's awesome.
You can ask it the same questions. You can tell it the same stories. You could get mad at it, and it's not going to have
Yeah.
any negative impact. And I think my problem generally, I forgot to restart the timer for the show. My problem
That's okay.
generally with the idea of AI companions is that it creates a situation where you're developing a relationship with a non-relational being. Like it's not really a relationship. Um, I don't know if it falls quite in the category of parasocial relationships, as you've referenced a couple of times, but you know, it's not human. You don't have that emotional connection. But in this case, you're dealing with people who aren't developmental, or sorry, in developmental stages where they need to be learning that. You're not giving it to them as a crutch to avoid other social behaviors. These are people who are in an irreversible situation, and
Yeah.
they just need a little bit of comfort in their old age, or you know, during the time that they have left, or whatever the case may be. And this just seems like such a compassionate solution.
Agreed.
Yeah, I like it.
Little robo friend. Yeah, I'm a big supporter.
Almost like a comfort animal, comfort dog, or whatever, comfort
Right.
monkey, comfort
But like that pretends
sloth.
to be sentient and
Yeah,
has a response in English that you can like talk to, right? Like
yeah,
it can read anger and frustration. It can understand that and then act accordingly. And I think that's like, wow, what an age that we're living in, that we're going to keep seeing this expanding. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, like Peter says, it is going to get better. I don't know if it would ever get to the point that, I mean, so is it, so in terms, like, so go to the other end, right? You've got toddlers, infants who are developing these things. And maybe this is where it does go back in the other direction. I guess what I was trying to decide was, is something like this that's more interactive better or worse than putting your kid in front of the television? No, I think it's worse.
Well,
it's worse because it's going to feel more authentic when it's actually not.
Is that a bad thing? You're letting them mimic interactions and what behavior is good and bad, right? Like if the kid pushes this little android, like the android's gonna be like, ouch, that hurt, or whatever. Like it's gonna like,
Yeah.
you get what I mean? Like things are gonna be taught to it in a straightforward way.
So what's the better substitute for bad parenting is the question.
Right. Do you rather have an iPad kid or a kid that's being parented by an android?
Oh, so an iPad kid or a ChatGPT kid? Ew, that's a rough choice. I don't know.
That's a rough one. Yeah.
Oof. Oh, I
mean, the ChatGPT kid, you know, the problem with that one is like kid might come out just being an anti-Semite. Like that's a possibility. Like she's gonna be a raging racist, blame the Jews for everything. So that wouldn't be great.
That's a tough question to answer.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, right, the iPad kid is gonna have like the development handicap of like a, you know, like a 2-year-old at 5. Like they're just not gonna be talking or interacting. So like pros and cons.
Oh man, that was a fun question that I stumbled into. I'm going to be thinking about that a lot, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
5-year-old kid is a moon landing denier, moon lander denier. Yeah, like,
flat earther.
Amazing. Yeah, flat earther, yeah. No, Dad, that's not true. We're going to fall off. Okay. All right. That's
so maybe I will turn to the doom and gloom side of this feel good story.
Of course you do, because that's what you do, Mike. You ruin everything. Nice. It was so good.
Oh, there.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
Yep. You've got 25 seconds. All right, 3 down, 2 to go. So we're gonna do, I think we have 2 kind of fun, hopefully, segments coming up here. We're going to talk about this story. The internet is full of AI dog shit. And again, heavily inspired by our Discord server. So you should definitely come and check it out. It's a small server, but it's pretty active. I mean, there are days that people just like have really long, interesting conversations there that I really enjoy. John doesn't always participate, but Peter and I are usually around. But even when we're not around, there are other people. It's definitely a lot of fun. So the internet is full of AI dog shit. And then, actually, I'll go through and get these ready. So I have some TikToks prepared for John that will play. And I think I have the audio all worked out. I don't know if we'll do all of these. I have a bunch. So I guess it just depends on John's patience for watching these once he gets back. I'm just going to cue them up here.
You talking shit about me?
Oh, no. Sorry, John. We were just talking about you behind your back. Yes, we were talking shit about you. I'm just queuing up the TikTok videos. I'm queuing up the 24 TikTok videos that I have for us today.
Yeah, the 4, right? Like 3 videos.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Baker's dozen, let's call it.
Oh.
No. It'll be fine.
Okay. Let's talk about AI dog shit.
We're going to talk about AI dog shit.
Yeah.
Do you want to do an intro today?
Sure. I mean, I could.
You could and you will. Oh, I think I didn't stop recording. Let me just stop it and then we'll do a clean cut so that I don't panic when I see that we only had 4 recordings instead of 5.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Nope.
Oh, I got to start the
Yes.
timer also. Remove the timer, create a timer, count it from 0, and here we go. Oh, wait. Go now.
Okay, another day. Wow. It's like it never ends. We're just always stuck in this perpetual void of new content.
Wow.
We're going to talk about not us, because we're authentic, good, human, biological content. We're going to talk about some shitty AI content. Oop. Was I supposed to swear there? Some bad AI dog water content. Today's not so critical update.
So today is not the day that we come out of the closet as
Sentient AI.
AI.
Not today, Mike.
A show written by AI for AI.
For AI. Yeah.
About AI. That's not today.
Vote now.
Okay.
No.
So this article spawned a series of memes in our PrivSec memes channel on our Discord server, which you definitely should come check out, like and subscribe to the channel. And if you like the content, come join us in Discord, because this is where a lot of the content comes from. But this article, and like we all know this, right? AI, the internet is so full of junk AI content. We've talked about it so many times. The stupid YouTube videos that are voice synthesized Reddit posts over gameplay videos. Absolutely insane. And basically this article is just about how we're full of that. The internet is full of that. So the one that kicked this all off was this screenshot of a Google search. Will sinus inflammation go away? The recommended answer from Google, like in the little like drop down pre-populated, people should see a doctor as soon as penis injury occurs. Wait, I thought this was a sinus question. Why is Google talking about penis? Does Google think penises and sinuses are the same thing?
Right, are the same thing. Does Google think any inflammation applies to any inflammation? Right, like
it's always or that everything is a penis problem. Most of the time, a swollen penis will resolve itself. However, complications may occur. So the answer is true, presumably, but it's not an answer to that question. So way to go, AI. So you could say like maybe this is an AI problem, maybe this is a Google search engine problem. I kind of feel like
I would say this is a search engine problem for sure. Yeah.
However, we also found some of these cases. That's a little too big. So this is an Amazon listing for a product, the description of which says, an AI language model. I do not have access to the context of the SFD you're referring to. Can you please provide me with better information so that I can assist you better? That is the title of the Amazon listing for this
amazing
cat plate. As a human language model, I don't think I have access to the context that would allow me to describe what the fuck this is. Is it a cat? Oh, I think it's a cat looking into a mirror, concave mirror, convex mirror. I think that's what it is.
Or like a fish lens,
or like a Christmas bulb or something.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Wow. So I think that this is just like the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, how much stuff has gone undetected since the release of language models? Like, yeah.
I wonder how many results you could get if you just Googled, like, as an AI language model, I cannot answer this question, or whatever that generic response is.
That's such a good Google search.
You'd find it in, if I'd thought of that during show prep, we could have done that in advance. You would find it in medical journals. You would find it in law case citations.
Right.
This is crazy. Oh, this was another one
on IMDb, I think.
I'm sorry, but I cannot fulfill this request. It goes against OpenAI usage policy. My purpose is to provide helpful and respectful information up to users. And this is the product description of what appears to be a dresser, clothing chest with drawers. Again, from an Amazon listing. For the people who are listening to the show, ugh,
Wow.
you're the worst. We're looking at screenshots of Amazon listings that were clearly written by AI language models and how they have fallen short. So, and this isn't even this isn't actually a bad example. So let me come back to this one. Internet content's only going to continue to get worse. It is not going to get better.
No. So I think what we're going to see is, so the reason, here it is right here. Okay. I've been thinking about this. I've been cooking. Okay. So the reason that we're seeing the proliferation, this I pronounce that right? Proliferation.
Yeah.
Anyway, on such a large scale is because of services like mega services like YouTube and Twitter and Reddit and Amazon, right? Like we are seeing this now because there is no limit to the size content creators can like become or be a part of a pool. Like, and what I mean is take YouTubers, right? Countless. Well, we fall into that category. Countless. So you can't tell the difference between one to the other, especially when talking about short form media like YouTube Shorts and like TikTok. So it's like it's a perfect storm for someone to sneak AI content into. Okay, versus a like super close knit high federation social medium like Blue Sky or Mastodon, where you're really like you're hyper monitoring who's part of your community, who's the content creators of the community. Maybe you are the sole content creator of the community, and that's where you guys are, where you and the viewers are. Like that's what we're going to be pushed into. I think that is how we're going to protect authentic content, is like you're going to have these hyper focused channels, almost like back in the day when everyone had a blog slash website.
Yeah.
Right. It was to that micro scale of like, oh well, this guy writes about something I'm interested in, like I'm gonna check his
Yeah.
website once a day and read stuff, like, and
Okay.
get sad when he doesn't post. It's like a YouTube channel that you like, but it's more than that.
So even that turned into like the content farms where you've got sites that look like blogs that are just
Yeah.
populated with shit
Right.
content. Is that
Shit.
kind of the argument that over time it deteriorates to that point, or what's the analogy there?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened. You're right. Like,
Yeah.
over time, they just became click farms, right? Like they would copy content from the web and host it and artificially inflate their SEO so that they showed up on the top one page of Google, so that people would click it and they'd land an ad for 20 cents or whatever. And you do that enough time, you make a bunch of money. So I think what we're going to see now is people are smarter. The new generation, old generation is dying that would fall for this. New generation is coming in that is more aware, more critical of content,
Yeah.
and it's going to push them into new medias, into new technologies, not YouTube or Twitter or Reddit or wherever, like where AI is going just rampant, just a fucking
So
virus.
is part of your argument that small moderated Discord servers, for example, would be a better place to spend time online because you're not going to run into this as much?
Yeah, I mean, Discord is like a perfect example of what I don't like about this. Like, yes, you're right. That is the way to do it. But the problem with Discord is like they're kind of they're kind of a bad company. Like,
Yeah.
for their protection though, I guess, right? Like for profit, they're a bad company.
Yeah.
And there are alternatives like was it I'm PyTest who asked us why we don't spin up a Matrix server, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and the short answer is
We
that
love
no
you,
one's gonna
but
fucking
no.
join. It's gonna
Yeah.
be me, you, Peter, and I'm PyTest.
I won't be
So
there.
right. So
I don't
Discord
even know
kind
what you're
of
talking about.
walks the fine line. Oh, it's like basically it's like
No, I don't
imagine
care.
okay. All right.
So
We'll
where?
wrap it up with that.
But
Mike doesn't care. 2024.
But where are people gonna go? So, like you said, they're
Yeah,
not
I
going to
don't
be
know.
on TikTok, X, Twitter, X and TikTok are whatever. Facebook, YouTube. Where are they going to be? Like
I think
the
there's gonna
reason
be
those,
new spaces.
but
Look
what
at
isn't it just
threads,
going to
right?
turn
Like
into that again?
threads. No, because if you're federated, like you have 10 content creators that you like and you join 10 content creator like instances,
Mm-hmm.
like that's what you're gonna see. There's not gonna be in a perfect world like recommendations, right? Like a for you, here's like new things for you to try. Like you're gonna have to seek it out. That's the way you combat this.
But isn't that what makes social media interesting? Is the
What is like
recommendations?
new? I mean, that's one method. Yeah.
All right. So I should start checking out Mastodon as my takeaway, I guess, huh?
Or Blue Sky. I mean,
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky is a perfect example of like I think something that's going to be like the new Twitter. It's going to solve this problem, but there's a lot of things that they still need to do.
So the reason I don't understand Blue Sky when I log in and just nothing is there is because I actually have to go out and find something.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds hard.
You remember that? You remember what that was like? Can you dig that far
No.
back into your mind when you used to type things?
Yeah, it was terrible. That's why the internet is better now.
I like it. I mean, I'm cool with it. Anyway,
right. Yeah,
let's
see.
close it out. Shit, not a coffee.
Okay. Sorry, did you need another break, John?
I mean, if you're offering, oh my god. No, let's power
right.
through.
Yeah, we've got a lot of TikTok videos to get through here.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Ready? Oh, I didn't stop the recording again. I got to find out if there's a way to make it stop the recording when that video ends.
There definitely is with a multi-action on your stream deck.
Oh, I can just do it at the timer when I hit the button for that cue. Yep. But then if I hit it accidentally, like I did in the first episode, I'm screwed.
I don't know.
We just have to start over again. All right. Here we go. You ready?
Yes.
It's Mike's favorite day of the week. TikTok day. John, I have selected approximately 72 TikTok videos for us to watch today. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for 5. I'll leave after 5. Like I'll actually walk out the door.
We'll see. Right. We'll see.
Let's see it.
All right, the theme for today is tech support stories.
Oh fuck.
What is that, a good fuck or a bad fuck?
I mean, I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
No conspiracies this week.
No conspiracy. Thank God. Huh.
I'll catch up on conspiracies again for next week.
No.
No. All right. So these first couple are just kind of to set up tech support.
Hi, thanks for taking this call. So I have issues logging in this morning.
Sorry, did you create a ticket for that?
No, I figured I can just ask.
How am I supposed to help you without a ticket?
Well, I figured since it's urgent, we can just work through it together.
There's a process in place for a reason, okay? Enter the ticket and then get back to me. All right? Bye.
All right. So how true is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's so one, I mean, I used to Whew. I used to be the person having to ask for this. And the reason is you have to show your performance, and this is how you show what you've been doing. Otherwise,
Yeah.
if you're like playing, if you're just like whatever, your boss is going to be like, what the fuck did you do this last week? Like, what have you been up to? And then you're going to have to like go try to figure out how to show your work. This is how you show your work. This is why it's so important. And yes, it's an annoying thing, right? Like, open a ticket. Now I'm the person who gets yelled at when I'm like, hey, because I
Open a
like
ticket.
in my role, I work directly with the network and IT team. Like, I need to like work with them every other day, and I'm like, hey, I need this, and they're like, open a ticket. I'm like, shut up. But okay, fine. Like,
For me,
yeah,
it was
that's
always
acceptable.
more about just like understanding the request, because then you do something for somebody and they'd be like, oh no, that's not what I needed. Well, what the fuck I did what you asked me for.
Getting them, or like, oh my god, nothing is worse than getting a ticket half a sentence.
It's
Monitor
broken.
doesn't work. Yeah. What?
Nothing
What's
works. Nothing
What's
works.
What's broken? Are your lights working? Like, what are you saying?
I know. Always. So here's this is a classic. I'm sure you've seen this before.
Hello, IT.
Of course.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Classic. So that one.
Okay, well, the button on...
as cliche and frustrating as the have you turned it off and on it, have you tried rebooting? It actually does solve the problem a lot of the time.
I forget. Someone did. I think someone quantified the percentage of solves for restarting. It was like 60% or something. Like,
it's really
it fixes
crazy.
it. Like,
As
it's actually like, yeah.
It shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense. It's
No.
it's annoying that it works,
But
but
it
it
works.
really works a
Yeah.
lot of the time.
It should be your first thing. Yeah.
It really should.
Yep.
I resisted that for so long, but now I'm really at the point like, yeah, okay, sometimes you just got to restart.
That's crazy. It used to be an IT.
Oh, okay, well, the button on the side, is it glowing?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you need to turn it on. The button turns it on? Yeah. You do know how a button works, don't you?
Did you ever actually have to deal with that, John?
So I have dealt with like the, how do I put this in a nice way? Technologically illiterate. Yeah.
Unsophisticated.
Yeah. And they feel worse than you do.
Oh, they're super frustrated.
If any new aspiring IT people are watching right now, you're going to run into this person.
Yes.
And they're going to be really frustrated. They're not only frustrated that it doesn't work, they're frustrated at themselves that they don't understand what you're asking.
Yep.
Because the way you're probably asking is, it's just the button on the side, just hit the button.
Yeah.
It is the most trivial thing on earth.
To you.
To them, they feel really dumb.
Yeah.
So you have to, with IT comes compassion, empathy. This is such an important thing to know and have at the beginning of your career, because it was going to translate across your entire career.
Yeah.
Is this don't be a know-it-all dickhead to the person who's reaching out for help. Why would they want to ask you for help if you're being mean or not the kindest, or like short, or IT like.
I completely agree. And that actually was going to be my point for this entire video clip, because you're about to see even the other side of it. Right. I actually had this exact situation with a user, and it was exactly as you described. She was super frustrated. She was embarrassed. She couldn't figure it out. She didn't understand what the problem was. Literally, her computer wasn't turned on, and she didn't know how to turn it on. And I think, I actually ended up having to go out on site.
Yeah, that happened to me too. Same thing, actually.
Which, to us, it seems annoying and trivial and WTF, but it's a legitimate problem. If you don't know how to do something, you don't know how to do it.
She was the sweetest lady, and she was such a sweet lady, and she was real frustrated because I was like, I don't know what else to try with you. So I had to drive out, and I say, okay, show me how you turn it on. And she hit the monitor button.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's
Classic.
like, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. All right, yeah, go on.
You? No, not on clothes.
Here's the other side.
Yaha. Have you tried forcing an unexpected reboot?
Mhm.
No, there
Oh
you
my
go.
God.
No, there you go. I just heard it come on. No, that's the music you hear when it comes on. No, that's the music you hear when it... I'm sorry, are you from the past?
See, the driver hooks a function by patching the system pool table, so it's not safe to unload it unless another thread's about to jump in there and do its stuff.
Yep.
And you don't want to end up
Nope.
in the middle of invalid memory. Hello?
Oh, really? Well, why don't you come down here and make me then? Huh? What, you think I'm afraid of you? I'm not afraid of you. You can come down here anytime and I'll be waiting for you. I told her.
So the other side of it was the guy who's like speaking way over their head
Yeah, and not even aware of it.
and not even aware of it. Yeah.
Which
So-
is another
cheerful.
really critical skill for aspiring and up and coming IT people, is to how to downplay, dumb down something so that people understand what you're doing.
Yeah. Don't not dumb down. Explain it in layman's terms.
There you go. That's how actually it is put in the job description. Nice. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
literally like in my IT career,
Non-technical people. Yeah.
that has been the single most valuable skill
Yeah.
in my entire career.
Of course.
Is like you said, not getting, being patient, being compassionate, and being able to talk to people in a way that they understand.
Yep.
Single most valuable
So
thing in my
important. So
been able to do. It is hard sometimes though.
It is. Tests you.
This is a short one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was there no volume on that one?
I guess they must have removed the audio.
Yeah.
But so true. Dude, you hitting me up as I'm walking out the door.
5:31. Good luck.
Good
See
luck.
you later.
See you
Oh,
on
maybe I had
Monday.
it turned down.
No.
No, I thought there was sound in it when I listened before. Oh well.
No.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes. they
sorry.
do.
Oh, we already talked about the tickets. We don't need to go back to that. Okay, let's see. Here we go.
Okay, good.
I worked in tech support for a very short time, but I still got at least one cool story out of it. I worked at the help desk in my college's library, and technically we were just supposed to help people reset passwords and shit, but me and a few other people kind of knew what we were doing, so every now and then we'd break protocol and help people with actual problems. And one time this old Chinese guy came up to the desk, didn't speak much English, but he was freaking out, and he managed to get across that he lost a really important document because his computer won't boot up anymore. Pretty sure he was a student and it was like a thesis or dissertation or
You
whatever.
just went through. This one ends up being interesting because of what the problem was, and also I liked his approach to how he solved
Yeah,
it.
he's like, the file's on the desktop.
It is a long
get
build-up,
there
though.
anymore, and I have to get this file. It's really, really important. And a lot of the time, when your computer can't boot up, your files are still there. It's just like a corrupt boot sector, or any number of problems. But your files are probably fine.
This has come up for me before too. I was working with somebody, a Gen Zer, who deleted shortcuts off the desktop.
Oh, class.
And
It's a
assumed that
classic.
they had deleted the programs
Yeah.
from the computer, because on a phone, that's the paradigm.
That's what you do, right?
But with a PC that, is less intuitive.
Uninstalling
apparently.
is completely different than deleting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I got you. Leave your laptop here for a little bit.
And it was
See
like
what
a
I can do.
complete
So I
panic.
plug in
Oh
a
my
boot
God, I
USB,
deleted
and I
everything.
boot from there.
Right.
It
You
works
didn't.
fine. So the problem is the boot sector or something. And I load up a terminal and I get into the desktop.
Now,
let's
he's
see
not
what-
explaining this to the guy,
No.
which is key. He's just telling us that that's what happened.
It's on here. Let's find this
Yeah.
file. Let's get it
Interesting.
off.
Interesting to
LS.
us.
Crash. And I'm like, that's weird. I've never seen anything like this before. How corrupted could these files possibly be that trying to list them crashes? So I'm like, all right, LS isn't working, but let's see if we can still copy this file off. I go CP and I hit tab a couple times to list the files in the directory to get them off of there. Crash. Like, man, okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to copy everything over if I can't actually see what's on here. The guy told me it was on the desktop, so I go to the desktop, CP star, copy everything. Crash. I had no idea what to do at this point, and it was taking a while because every time it crashed, I had to start it up again and wait for the boot disk or whatever. So the guy came up to me after a while.
Any theories, John?
Said this was on a laptop, right?
Yep, laptop.
Power issue? I don't know. Yeah. Let's
He
see.
came back and he was like, what's going on? Is it working? And I'm like, well, I'm going to keep trying it, but, something's something's going on, something's weird.
Something's
It
fucking
keeps crashing,
yeah.
and he was kind of trying to say like, oh, well, maybe just give me back my laptop and I'll see if I can, you know, take it somewhere else or whatever. You know, he was kind of frustrated.
I'm the
with,
guy also who's like, no, I'm gonna fucking figure it out.
Yeah. Same.
I don't care if it takes the rest of my life. I am now committed to figuring this out.
This is it.
Like,
This is my only
dejected.
mission
I was
now.
trying to tell him to like other places that he could take it to. Maybe they could like take it apart and do something. I was having kind of a hard time giving him the directions to the place because of the language barrier, and that's when it hit me. His files are probably not in English, and the file names aren't English characters. They're kanji, and the terminal was crashing because whatever bare bones terminal I was using couldn't render the characters. I'm thinking to myself, like, does that make any sense? Could that be what's going on here? But I had to try it for him. So I'm like, all right, let me try one more thing. Just give me a little bit more time. I still can't see what any of the files are called on here, but I have to go CP star, just copy everything from the desktop over, and I have to redirect the output to null because I can't have it list any of the files that it's copying or else it's going to crash. And this dude must have had the most cluttered desktop of all time because it took forever to copy everything over to a USB. And I can't see any of the output, so I don't even know if it's working or not. I just have to hope. After what felt like forever, I took out the USB, plugged it into one of our desk machines, showed him the files, and I was like, is what you're looking for here? And it was. I've never seen more relief in a man's
I like
face.
so much about this because he seems like a nice guy. He was patient with the customer, the guy who's been providing support for. He figured out the problem, and it was an interesting story. Like, those are the best kind.
That's a fun story to think about because there's such outlier scenarios that you wouldn't ever like. How could language, right? You would think to yourself like, how the fuck could language affect files? Like, so that was a good one. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. It reminded me of I forgot to restart the timer, so I'm just gonna kill it. One time I was trying to figure out what was wrong on a computer, and I kept thinking it was the hard drive. So I used to use SpinRite. We did a story about Steve Gibson last week. SpinRite, great tool. I loved that tool. It saved my ass so many times, and also helped diagnose it. If a hard drive was struggling to run it, that was always like huge red flag that like this drive is on its way out. But I kept getting a different results every time, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I finally realized it was a problem with the RAM. And it was literally the only time in my career that I ever saw an actual RAM problem.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I just had a RAM problem. That I'm saying really no way. Like I see RAM issues all the time.
Oh, do you?
It took me over a month. No, it took me over a month to figure out that it is RAM.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was just not happening. I was having a problem with one of my sticks. I didn't realize it was faulty because it wasn't really faulty. It was just like bad. Like, yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's.
And you just never assume that that's going to be the problem, right? But sometimes it is. That's what you need experience for.
I just IT'd the shit out of something. If you're not an IT, you might not understand, but the way I saw
the captions on this don't help because I don't think it translates correctly. What I love about this guy is he's clearly like an engineer.
Yeah.
And another kind of an interesting problem.
This was absolutely insane. So basically we had a computer that lost its domain trust, and we also didn't have the lapse password for it. So we couldn't get onto the computer
password, I think was the point.
But it was a VIP's computer and had a lot of files and a lot of settings that needed to be saved. We tried so much to try to get into this damn thing because basically you couldn't rejoin it to the domain to sign in without losing the files.
Domain authentication problems. Domain authentication problems are the worst.
Nowadays it's a little bit better, but back then nightmare.
Oh my God. When I got out, it was like we were coming off of server 2003 and I think we were maybe like server 2007. A lot of or was that SQL 2007? I don't know. Like domain problems and domain DNS. Oh my God. Terrible.
Still enabled. Windows Hello was still enabled. So I went, all right, I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. And lo and behold, Hello for Business bypasses domain authentication, and I was able to get in as an admin. So once I was in, I created a local admin for myself, disjoined and rejoined to the domain, and now I'm able to get the files out.
Oh my God.
It shouldn't have worked, but it worked.
Wow.
That's kind of what happened with the Bitwarden thing we talked about last week, right?
Right, exactly. What do you got?
It's always that stuff that shouldn't work but does. No audio again?
No sound.
What's happening here? Oh.
Computers for new hire. We had 10 new people starting, and there's a global shortage right now.
Oh, this one.
So
I don't know how I feel about this one.
We had 9 black laptops and 1 silver laptop. So we get them all configured, and the day before we issue these computers, I kind of realized something. I look through all the names of the people who are starting, and then I look at the last one who got the silver laptop, and I kind of look over at my coworker. Hey, it would really suck if this silver laptop was going to the only person of color in this group. He ponders for a second and goes, we'll be fine, we'll be fine. Monday morning rolls around and my worst fear came true. The only person of color in the group was the only person not to get a black laptop. What are the odds? And why are they racist?
Do we care about that?
No. Step
Yeah,
one.
I don't think so either.
Kind of makes you racist, actually, because like,
right.
What's that shit called when you're like racist by not being racist? I forget. There's a term for it.
Oh, I'm not sure.
It's when you basically treat someone like a person of color differently because they're like you will tread
Like
lighter
preferential
around them,
treatment,
right? Yeah. I don't. But my point is, one, so you assume someone's a person of color by their name, right? Already bad.
Right.
Like that's not good.
Although
And
it turned
then
out he was
two,
right.
You're
To be fair.
okay, but no. And then
oh, you can't.
And then two, you're like you're IDing them to a piece of machinery.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
Who fucking cares? Like
I
that
know,
was just
yeah.
you went through the list and you assigned
Right.
laptops. Like it's not like I mean, it's not like 10 laptops have the US flag on it and 1 has the Confederate flag on it. Right? Like it's not like no, bro. It's fucking silver, right? Like who cares? I promise you that person doesn't care. And then they're like, worst nightmare. Lo and behold, my nightmare came true. And it was a person of color who got this. It was like, what the fuck? Like, who cares? Oh my God.
Confederate flag on it. That would be so funny.
No, yeah. Terrible.
That company has other problems.
Yeah.
So I work in IT, and a portion of my job is monitoring this general support mailbox that like anyone that accesses the system that like I am in charge of and the IT support team of can send an email to it with questions, concerns, access problems, errors, messages, and like I help them. So I got one this morning that says I can't access anything. That was the only thing. So I was like, you can't access what? That's not what I said to them. I asked them a very detailed thing. One of the things was, are you getting an error message when you're trying to access things? Like, if so, could you send me a screenshot of it?
People do that all the time. Like, oh, nothing works.
Mhm.
Nothing
Yeah.
works?
We were just saying, like, come on.
Or like copy and paste the error message. Any additional information would help. I would love to help you. And I shit you not, in this year 2023, this person took their cell phone, took a picture of their computer screen,
God.
emailed it to themselves, and then attached it to an email to me rather than just taking a screenshot of their screen.
Oh
and
my
also,
God.
The picture they took of their screen isn't of anything other than their desktop and their desktop icons, so I still don't know what they're trying to do, and they did all that, and I still don't know what the problem is. The mental toll this takes sometimes is...
Hi. I actually had a guy...
The real conspiracy theory.
Oh, there goes the conspiracy theories. I actually had a guy once do the same thing, but with a video. He kept telling me he had some problem. Got out his phone, recorded a video on his phone of his desktop while he did the thing, and then emailed me the video as an attachment. Which, I mean, to be fair, got the job done, but whew, that was rough. The I was as we were going through this, I thought of another story too. There was a guy who so there were two things that happened. First of all, it was a new IT client. The guy had a computer and he said, "Oh, this computer's been down for like 8 months. I tried to have somebody fix it. They couldn't figure it out. Now that you're doing IT support, can you take a look at it?" Sure, no problem. Guy was super, super difficult to work with. And I ended up firing him as a client. But I took this computer back and I was showing him and his wife how to do the thing, and she was asking me a question, and it had something to do with Internet Explorer. And so I set him up in another profile, and she sits down, and I said, so don't click here, click here. And I see her mouse moving, and I'm saying, don't click that one, do the other one. And her mouse continues moving. Like, no, don't click there. And just in slow motion, she just like moved her mouse over. Click. What the fuck is your problem? What are you doing? And
have you ever had to battle someone for their mouse? Okay, go on. So
almost. And I had my junior tech there who for like training, and he still tells that story about like, oh my God, I remember being there with you. And it was just this train wreck in slow motion. I don't know what that woman was thinking. Even her husband was like freaking out. At any rate, and I don't remember the circumstances, because you could say, well, if she's not supposed to do that, why do you even have it there?
Yeah.
It was like some weird case. But then, because I ended up firing them as a customer, the guy calls me in a week later, and he's like, this doesn't work the way it did. And I said, we just tested it last week when I returned it, and it did it this way. And like, yeah, but that's not what it's supposed to do. I said, what are you talking about? That like, we just went through this. That's how it worked when we looked at it last week. And he's saying, no, that's not how it worked 8 months ago when it broke. He's like, what the fuck do you want me to do about how it worked 8 months ago before I ever met you? Like, you're insane. Nightmare. So those people were no longer customers. Brutal. But that tech that I hired, I hired specifically. So I created a test on a VM that he would provide phone support to my wife on this VM with an easy problem to solve, a hard problem to solve, and an impossible problem to solve. Mm-hmm. And the only things that I needed, my entire screening criteria was, how is he on the phone, and can he solve the easy problem? And he did great. Hired him. Best tech I ever hired. Still in IT today, managing teams. It's amazing.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's how in early in my career, one of the better interviews I had was at an MSP that was set up a lab, a VM closed, and said, here's the problem. What are you going to do? Run me through it. And we were at a cafe with this person's laptop, and he directed the laptop to me. We're like sitting, sharing the screen. And he says, show me the steps you would take to solve this problem. And it was a closed VM. It doesn't matter what I did, right? Like it was a lab. So I could break it. I could fucking, no matter what. Like, and that was such a good experience because he didn't care so much about like what my answer was verbally. He wanted to see what I can do.
Yeah. And
testing application like that, right? Like felt really good, where traditionally I'd seen a lot of like define DNS. Like, what is port 443 used for?
Yeah,
right? Like just like fucking trivia. And I've only had those types of interviews a couple of times in my career, and it was really refreshing. So that's cool to hear that you also did that.
It worked so well. Because I wanted to make sure he had some basic IT aptitude. He could solve the first problem, no problem. And I wanted to make sure that he could talk, like be comforting and compassionate and all of the other things we talked about on the phone, which he absolutely was. He did end up being able to solve the second problem. But the key then was, how do you deal with a problem that you can't solve? Mm-hmm. And the best answer is, hey, I'm not sure right now. We'll figure, let's schedule a follow-up. Let's get it in the shop. Let's whatever. And that's exactly what he did. And I had no idea how inexperienced this guy was, but he ended up being amazing.
Yeah, that's great.
So if you're watching, you know who you are, and I love you, man. I don't know if he is or not. Probably not.
That's sweet.
Do, 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 do. Love that song.
And that's that.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. John, are you gonna stay on for a minute?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. There's nobody else watching right now, but if you happen to watch the VOD, enjoy. Come join our Discord server. See everyone soon.